What's up, y'all? It's your girl, I am Kaya, and I'm back with another video. Today, I'm going to be recapping Jela's tell-all interview with A Connection TV. She did it with Wesley, aka Mona Simone. If y'all don't remember him/her, he used to do the Bad Girls Club interviews when Bad Girls Club was on 10-15 years ago, and he used to review the show and interview the girls. I loved his Bad Girls Club interviews. I don't understand why he took them away. He really could have kept monetizing off of them, but he's still doing his thing over there. So shout out to A Connection TV. And this is only part one. I'm kind of glad because they say it's 5 parts, and hell to the no. I ain't doing no 5-hour fucking review, okay? But I'm just going to break down part one. I'm just going to get the main parts because there was a lot of other parts they talked about, like Jela's life, which, I am interested in, but I think we know what we all want to talk about. So I'm going to break down the main parts of part one. And then when part two comes out, I'm going to give you guys a new video. I'm doing it in podcast view right now because my hair ain't done. And I really don't feel like getting on camera and setting up everything. So this is just going to be my voice. It's going to be like in a podcast type of era. So I'm going to give you guys that. And before I get into all that, like, comment, share, subscribe. Again, thank y'all for the 1,000 subscribers. I'm still trying to get my watch hours up. YouTube be tripping of how they be generating these watch hours. So this is me constantly getting content out there for you guys. So I'm going to keep doing that one. And is there anything else? Nope. Let's go ahead and get into this review. All right, y'all. So we start out the interview, and it's Jela and Wesley. They're actually talking about when Jela did her interview with him 10 years ago. This is during Jela when she was on Bad Girls Club season 14. She was on there with the Claremont twins. So they're just rewatching it, and Jela's getting really emotional. It was actually really good. I was actually kind of nice seeing Jela emotional. And first, wait, hold on. Before I get into it, can I just say, Jela, you look good, bitch. Dude, damn, Jela look good, okay? Jela, she looked so fucking amazing. Like, honey, the white, I be getting on her about wearing that fucking white. But Jela, she looked so good. The wig, she looked so beautiful. Like, when I see this Jela, like, looking at Jela, just be like, Jela, like, how come you are not on some runway somewhere? But she actually gets into that. So I'm going to get into that later. But yeah, so they start off talking about that, and they talk about how normal culture came, how she started off with, she said how she was just selling hats out of like her trunk of her car and everything like that before it got to how it is today. And it was really nice to hear the backstory of normal culture. Now, Jela, I said this before. Now, they said allegedly that your shit was bankrupt. I want to hope that's not true, but you haven't debunked that. I'm just saying. Yeah, so then we jump over that. Oh, yeah, and they talk about NLE Choppa real quick, but no offense, Jela. I ain't trying to hear about you and no NLE Choppa. Ain't trying to hear that shit, okay? They got NLE Choppa's baby mama on this next season of Baddies. We don't need to hear about that nigga, okay? So then we get into... So what they did was they actually start back when Jela was on Bad Girls Club into her transitioning over to Baddies and everything. So the first thing they talked about was her on Bad Girls Club season 14 with her and the twins. And they talk about, the big shit that happened on Bad Girls Club 14 when Jela and the twins left the girls and went out to the club. Now, Jela had spilled some tea that I don't know if she spilled this before in years past, and I just didn't catch that, but I'm catching it now, so I'm clocking now. She actually says that the night that her and the twins left the girls, that the bus didn't immediately take off. If you remember that scene, they were going to leave the girls and go out to the club. So they made it seem like on the show that they got on the bus and the bus just sped off. She said the bus actually sat there for like 5 minutes and the girls stayed into the house. So the girls could have came outside and they chose not to. But that's what they made it seem like on TV, which was very fucking interesting. You see how TV can mess with our fucking minds, y'all? So yeah, so that happened. Then she goes into detail talking about the night what happened where the girls ruined her and the twin shit. She said that, which we already knew, that they pissed in the bathtub and threw all of their stuff in there. They literally had no clothes except the clothes on their back. Woo! Just talking about it makes me so fucking mad, y'all. Woo! Y'all don't understand how that episode of Bad Girls Club made me mad. My shit is, I work hard for my stuff. My clothes is everything. And when you destroy my shit that I spend my hard-earned money on, it's up and it's stuck from there. So when Jalen and the twins fucked that house up, I did not blame them one bit. Tear it up. Tear it up, bitch, okay? Tear it up. All right? So then they get into, like, them getting kicked off the show because about them making threats. And then Jela had said something that I'm not sure if she clocked this year's past, but she said it now. She said that she told the twins, her and the twins didn't sign anything. They said, even though you're off the show, we still need to sign you because we still need your exit interviews and everything. And she says that they told them that we're not signing nothing. Now that we're off the show, we're not going to be using anything anymore. She says that the producers refused to give her and the twins their phones. They were literally knocking on the neighbor's door, asking for their phones to call them and say, hey, and trying to like call the police and everything. And she said immediately, like when they was able to get to their phones and get back to their home life, they said her and the twins sat down and said they were going to sue them because that was fucked up. And to this day, I'm so glad that Jela and the twins sued Oxygen, Budem and Murray, whoever they sued. And you saw Bad Girls Club at that point was no longer Bad Girls Club. Like, that was the season that really changed Bad Girls Club. And it was their fault because I understand ratings, understand views. But the fucked up stuff that y'all would do for these ratings and these views is just so fucking despicable. And I just don't understand it. But, so we move on to the next one. All right, so we get into the next part. So basically, this is like a big chunk of the interview. So Wesley is talking to Jela about her relationship with Natalie and how her and Natalie became friends and all that kind of shit, which I was kind of interested to see how they became friends anyway, because I don't think we ever heard the story. So Jela says that her and Natalie were at some kind of hair event. I think this was, I could be wrong. It was at some kind of event. They both were there and they both were on Bad Girls Club. So in passing, they, hung out and everything. So that's where she was seeing Natalie. And that's when they became, over the years, they became close. Now, she did say at first her and Natalie wasn't really friends, but they were more so like acquaintances that when they see each other at events, they would talk to each other. So then she brings up then she talked about the Dubai trips. And I really thought it was going to be something juicy. Maybe it's going to be in later parts. I really thought she was about to break down what the fuck went on those Dubai trips, because we know, okay? But that's what she brought up. But she said that Natalie had hit her up and said, did she want to go to Dubai? And then she said it was only a regular girls trip. It was nothing funny going on. I don't think I believe that all the way. But maybe the first one she went on wasn't a bad trip. It was just a trip to Dubai. But you can't tell me that all those rumors that everybody has to be lying about those Dubai trips and those Africa trips and those Nigeria trips. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. So then we find out, which I did not know. Again, if this is something that Jela has said in years past, I did not catch on to it. Jela had throughout there that she was pregnant at one point and then had a MC, because I don't think I can say the actual word on here because YouTube is very sensitive, but she was pregnant and had an MC and she didn't tell anybody but her family. And she told Natalie. So wait, hold up. I was right. I think Jela said, I could be wrong. Jela did say this is the first time she's ever told anybody this. So this is the first time Jela's saying it. Oh, sorry. So scratch what I said previously. So Jela just opened up and said that at one point in her life, she was pregnant and had an MC. Then she was going through a lot with the guy she was with, her ex-boyfriend at the time. And Natalie had hit her up and asked her to go on a trip to Africa. And this was after she had the MC. And Jayla was just ready to get away and just relax and everything like that. So she went on the trip. And then Jayla says that when they were in the airport, that she was texting her ex-boyfriend. And then all these feelings and all this emotional shit started coming out. And she just busted out crying in the middle of the airport. And then Natalie asked her, what's wrong? And then Jayla just broke down and told her everything that was going on. And then she said in that moment, that's when she really knew her and Natalie were really good friends. Because she said Natalie actually cried with her when she told her about her MC. And Natalie could understand it because we all remember Natalie had an MC once upon a time too. And that's something that's very because I've never ever had to go through that. I've had people in my family that's gone through MCs. Me personally, I've never been pregnant, so I don't know how it is, how you go through that and everything like that. So I can see right then and there. And what's very interesting is the way that she's talking about Natalie throughout this interview. You can tell that Jayla really, really loves Natalie. And it's just sad to see like how everything came to fruition now. And what was actually pissing me off about this interview a little bit is that out of all the shit that Natalie has talked, that Natalie has done by her actions and her words and everything, Jela still loves Natalie. She said it out her mouth. She still loves her. She still has love for her. She's never going to tear her down. She may like some shady stuff about Natalie, but at the end of the day, she still loves Natalie and wishes her nothing but the best. I think they still are in communication, as she said. She said in that interview that they had talked earlier that day. So yeah, but I don't know. I really like you. I like you, Jela, but that is just very, very questionable. And this is what like kind of debunks what I've been saying in my interview, and not my interviews, my reviews. I said, I do feel like Natalie liked Jela at one point when Natalie was not on Zeus, when Natalie was not making all this money and all this other shit. I think Natalie genuinely had a friendship with Jela. But when that money starts coming, y'all, money can make somebody the evilest person in the world. And I think that's what happened with Natalie. I just don't feel like, and I feel like, I know this is just my observation. I'm not in Jela's head, so I don't know. I just think Jela is just thinking about all the good times her and Natalie had before they came on Zeus. And she's still holding on to those, hoping that Natalie can remember those, because that's the Natalie she remembers. Because the way she's talking about Natalie in this interview is just like she's like giving her all the praise. Like she has not said one bad thing. Now she did say she was upset because they did talk about that last episode of Baddies Midwest when Natalie was in the car talking shit about Jela to Rolly and I think it was Tinka, or maybe it was somebody else. I don't know who was in that car, but I know Rolly was right there. And she was talking so much shit about Jela after Jela got beat up by Big Legs. She was definitely hurt by that. She said she actually cried when she saw that episode, which was very, very, very sad. But, I mean, again, I guess when you're friends with somebody for that damn long, maybe, like, it's hard to let go of a friendship. But maybe I'm just built different because, like, you have one time to do me wrong. And even if we've been friends for that long, okay, maybe I'll give you a second chance. But the amount of shit that Nelly has done to Jela and said about Jela, you would think Jela just cut her off and be like, listen, some people are friends for a season and they're there for a reason. I think Natalie was just Jela's friend for a season and they didn't need to be friends for this damn long. They should have been dropped that friendship. But the way Jela's talking, she still loves Natalie. That's where I took of it. And yep, that's how it is. So I'm going to move on to the next part. All right, so we get into another part and I don't know if I'm going in order. I could have skipped over it and I do apologize. But Wesley asked Jela the question that me and everybody on the internet has been wondering. Jela, why are you on Baddies? Like, why are you not a high fashion model or a high fashion designer working with top designers? Why are you not doing that? And then Jela, she gives kind of like a subpart answer, but then overall she did give an answer later on. She says that when she was growing up, she was told that she should have been on America's Next Top Model. She says that she auditioned for America's Next Top Model 3 times and they never picked her, which I don't know who's over there with casting at America's Next Top Model, but you did not pick Jela. You must be smoking crack because Jela is beautiful. Body, face is teeth, stomach on flat. She ain't got no work done. Everything on her is natural. The skin is beautiful. I don't know what y'all was looking at. And I can name a couple bitches that y'all had on America's Next Top Model, which why the fuck did y'all put them on there? Jayla should have been on there before a lot of those hoes. But that's neither here nor there. So, yeah, so she said that. And then she had basically said that when she kept constantly auditioning for America's Next Top Model and didn't get picked, that kind of like hurt her spirit a little bit. And I can understand, like, because there's times where I've auditioned for things that I didn't get and I wanted to give up as well. And it hurts your spirit a little bit when you keep getting rejected. So I definitely see where she's coming from right then and there. But she said that then didn't stop her. Then what happened was she started like making her clothes and started making her own design. And now she has no more culture, which, America's Next Top Model could have helped her further with her modeling career. But I see where she's coming from. But still, Jayla, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this good, sweetheart. You really need to be on some model. Like, I just cannot, like, I don't understand, like, how Jayla can't go and submit some headshots or some photos or something to these high fashion models like Ford's models or Wilhelmina models. Like, you telling me like these people would not scoop Jayla up? Come on, Jayla. I don't think you're doing it hard enough for me. Because, honey, go ahead and submit those photos. Someone will scoop you up real quick. You make some real good money, okay? Real good money. Even more money you're making over there at Zeus, okay? I'm just saying. But, yeah, Jayla, she finally asked the question, because that's something that I've been saying in my reviews, that Jayla is very beneath the show, and they touched base on that, too. They say that, you know, the fans want to know, like, why do you stay? Because the show is beneath you. Then Jayla did give that answer. Then she also says that but when the check is calling, it's hard to deny the check, which I understand. But it's like, Jayla, is the check really worth it for you to come on TV, you being 35 years old and you being in a house with people like Ivory and Lex and Anna, who are 22, 23, 24, fighting and shit like that and beating each other up to a bloody pulp, like getting bruises and black eyes? Like, is it really worth ruining your brand? Is it really worth this at your age? Like, I understand the money might be worth it, but it's like, can't you be doing other stuff though? I'm just saying. And I'm gonna say it again. Look at T from Baddies East. T did one season of Baddies. Now T is working with Tyler Perry on Netflix shows. Netflix, y'all. Netflix. Jayla, I know with you being on us, you being, I don't want to say a celebrity, but you are somebody that we know. Being on TV for 10 years, being as beautiful as you are, as educated as you are, I'm pretty sure you can go somewhere and somebody will take you. But I feel like you're diminishing it even more and more, staying on the network. And that's what I kept like preaching and yelling at Jalen about this whole season of Baddies Midwest. Why do you come back? Like, out of all the girls there, I see it for Jayla. I really see it for her. Out of every bitch that's on there, out of new girls and the OGs, Jayla was the only person I really saw it for. And I'm glad that she's not coming back to Zeus. Hopefully she doesn't like be like, I think I need to check and go back on another season of Baddies. Because if you do, Jayla, I'm about to read your ass on my page all day long, ho. Okay, just don't do that, Jayla. Okay, but I don't want this to be a Jayla read. I'm just glad that she finally acknowledges that, Jayla, you are better than the show. Check or not, the check can't be worth it. It just can't be worth it. But so we move on and they start talking about her introduction going into Baddies. So Jayla did tell us that she was supposed to be on Baddies ATL, but at that time, I think she had said that when Baddies ATL had started, she was pregnant, and then she was in a relationship, and she didn't think it was. And she didn't tell nobody that. She didn't tell Natalie that she was pregnant. She just says, "This is not a good time right now for me to go." Then that's what happened. Then Natalie called her up again on Baddies South, and she had said, when they offered her the check, I don't know how much they were offering them back then. She didn't tell us how much she was getting. I wish they would tell us, but she didn't tell us how much they did offer her on Baddies South. But she said the check was too good to pass up. And also with her not being on TV for a while and, getting some time away. So she just took it. So they talk about Baddies South. And then they was talking about how Baddies South was like the big introduction to Zeus, and how Baddies South is the season that started Zeus up. And it did. As much as I hate to admit it because I don't like Krishan, it was. And then speaking of Krishan, they start talking about Krishan. And then she started talking about her relationship with Krishan. And then she says that, I thought Krishan was a little touched. That's why I asked her, because she said she was kind of nervous to meet her because of what we saw her in the social media. And then she said after getting to know her, she just says, "Oh, she's just a young girl." Fuck that, okay? Krishan is just not just a girl. That's a fucking animal that y'all was letting on loose, okay? Fuck that. I'm tired of y'all babying this bitch, okay? Ugh, I couldn't stand it. Ugh, this make me go back to Baddies South. I hate it when they babied Krishan. But yeah, so she talked about her relationship with Krishan. She says how it turned into a big sister, little sister, and everything, and they got really close. She did say her and Krishan are not close like they used to be. Like, if she sees her house, she'll say, "Hey," but they're not as close as they used to be, which I don't think you should, Jela, because I don't think you want to be hanging around no fucking jailbird, okay? So, yeah. So, then they start talking about the whole, when her and Krishan kind of had their little duo, and how the whole Krishan and Jela versus Slim and Rolly happened. So, apparently, I think I remember hearing about this, but I could have forgot, that they said, how did that whole brawl start? So, she basically said it started over some bullshit. It started over a charger, an iPhone charger, y'all. You see what I'm saying? Clown crazy crybaby shit. Okay. So apparently she said she really couldn't remember explicit details, but she just knows that it was started over someone using a phone charger. A night that the cameras weren't rolling, and Jela, Rolly, Slim, and Krishan was at the house. And Krishan and Slim was arguing, and they was throwing water bottles at each other. So if you remember when Krishan said, you threw a water bottle at me last night, we trying to figure out what the fuck happened because the cameras wasn't up. So that's what happened. So they just knew when the cameras came the next morning, it was about to go down. And that's when we get that whole big fight in the parking lot between Krishan, Slim, and Jela versus Rolly. And Jela said her and Rolly really never had an issue, but because they're quote unquote best friends in the house were fighting, they just had to fight too, because it was Rolly and Slim. Y'all did try to jump Krishan. So Jayla stepped in and everything like that. So that's how that happened. And then what happened after that? I think we still are on Batty South. Okay, so yeah, that's mainly the gist of what we had on Batty South, because they really didn't go too much in depth of Batty South because that was 3 fucking years ago. But something she did talk about, Wesley asked her, was her relationship with Rolly. Jayla straight says that Rolly does not like her, and she really doesn't know why. And they asked the question, Wesley asked her the question, which I have been saying, do you think Rolly just has this secret animosity towards you because you beat her up? And then Jayla basically, I think she did say this, but she didn't feel like it was the whole entire reason. But she did say that I really think it's because I beat her up at the time when Jayla beat up Rolly on Batty South. At that point, Rolly was deemed unbeatable, and she ain't never lost a fight before, so it kind of hurt her ego and everything like that. And then after that, they were able to, slowly and surely become friends. Like, it didn't instantly happen where they was friends. They became friends or anything like that. So that's what she brought up. But I don't think she talked about it in this part. Maybe she'll talk about it later when we get to Batty's. When I get to the Baddies Midwest portion of this interview, because she didn't really talk too much in depth about Rolly, but I have a feeling we're going to get more about her relationship with Rolly. But the gist of it is she just feels like Rolly is still kind of holding something against her because she beat her up. And Rolly and Jayla has not fought since then. So that's what's going on. So, but anyway, they stop talking about Batty South, and and then her and Wesley talk about how there's a gap, and we see Jayla again till Batty's Caribbean. So they asked her, they said, did you not want to come back, or did they just not ask you? Jayla says that she was not asked to come on Baddies West, which was the next season. I don't know what's going on with Baddies East. She talks specifically about Baddies West. She says that she wasn't asked to come, and she feels like the reason they didn't ask her to come is because she didn't fight at the Batty South reunion. And then she also goes in depth. She said, listen, I wasn't trying to fight at that reunion because I look too fucking good. Which you did, Jayla. I will, but honey, Jayla, you can fight. Well, at the time you could fight. I don't know what's going on with your hands now. But you could fight, Jayla. I'm feeling sure you could beat up every bitch at that reunion except for Krishan crazy ass. But yeah, so that's what happened. But how'd you say that? Because what does that mean? Because Slim fought at the reunion, she didn't get asked back. Persuasion fought at the reunion, she didn't get asked back. So that couldn't be the reason why you didn't get brought back, Jayla. Because yeah, a whole bunch of bitches fought and they didn't come back. So maybe just was there already tiff going on with her and the producers back then? Because if that was crazy. But yeah, so she then says that then they start going into her coming back on Baddies Caribbean, and she says that it was good timing because she was doing good with Normal Culture about how she's been in Forbes twice and how celebrities was wearing her. See, that's my point, Jayla. You were doing good in life. So if you were doing good in life, why did you come back? Because honestly, Jayla, you coming back it did. It messed up your image. Because Baddies Caribbeans, when I started kind of not liking you, started seeing you was like, I don't know. So when she was saying that, it's like, honey, you got all this good shit going. You in Forbes. Why are you on Zeus Network? And I think she said it was to bring I think she wanted to have more exposure or some shit like that. But it's like, honey, you were in Forbes. That's exposure right there. But yeah, so again, Jayla, I'm not understanding why you had to come back when you was literally at the top. In my opinion, you were. But yeah, so we jump into Jayla coming back on Baddies Caribbean. All right, so we jump into the next portion. This is closer to the end of part 1 because they start talking about her on Baddies Caribbean. So, but also before I get into that, Now, this is something that stuck out to me. So they asked, I think Wesley asked her this question, and they said how, Jayla is the most intelligent person on the show, which I definitely think she is. And she says, outside of me, who I think is the most intelligent, girl, she said Diamond Body. Now, when she said that, because Wesley's face was my face, I was looking to the side and I had to cackle a little bit. I said, am I being punked? Because I know good and well she did not just say Diamond was the most intelligent. Then she actually breaks down. She says, I understand. Diamond acknowledges that she is a clout chaser. And she says that Diamond reads books or something like that. I mean, everybody can read a book. Shit, you can read a cookbook. You know what I'm saying? But like, what does that got to do with intelligence? Because it may be like Diamond really is behind the scenes and we just don't see it. I just see, because I do love Diamond, but Diamond does too much clownery, too much shit, too much clout chasing for me to think she's intelligent. Because if you all that, why do you have to do all this? But I'm going to take it with a grain of salt what Jela says. She says Diamond is the most intelligent. She said out of every fucking body that's on baddies at the moment. Diamond. Let that marinate for a second. Okay? So that just threw me for a fucking loop. But yeah, we going to let's just think about that. Because I still don't believe that Diamond is the most intelligent. No offense, Diamond. Love you. But I ain't believing that shit. So anyway, so we go on to Baddies Caribbean. Again, it's like the last 20-ish, 30 minutes. And she talks about her coming into Baddies Caribbean. And they talk about, the storyline that was at the beginning of the season. Biggie and Gretchen. So, first off, it was the Biggie stuff. So, they talk about, her beef with Biggie. And how people were saying she was a bully and all this other kind of shit. Because she kept picking with Biggie. I still stand firm on what I said. I don't think Jayla was bullying Biggie. And Jayla said it perfectly. She said, you said that you was going to slap me. So, when I see you said when you see me, you was going to slap me. So, of course, my guard is always going to be up. It's going to be up and it's stuck since there. So, I'm going to make you stand on it. And she's totally right. Like, Biggie talks all that shit on the goddamn internet. And then saying that she going to do this and do that. And then when you see the bitch in person, she don't do none of that. She don't do none of that. And y'all Biggie fans be killing me with that shit. Like, Biggie, your girl is a punk. She a punk. And she's soft. And she don't stand on shit. Until somebody has to push her to stand on her own. That's the point. That's why I don't like Biggie. That's what annoys me about her. And then she says that. And then she also says that if her and Biggie didn't have that little beef coming into the season, that she doesn't think she had been on Baddies Caribbean. So it did kind of give her a storyline. But was it the right storyline though? Because I don't want to see people beefing with Biggie. I don't want to see that. I really don't. But at least it stopped. It didn't carry on throughout the whole season. Then she says that, which... Again, some behind the scenes shit. So the first or second episode of Baddies Caribbean, when they got to the first house in Barbados, she says that they were actually already there. And her and Biggie already kind of squashed it. But she was hearing, from producers, Lemuel and maybe Ashley, that bitch Ashley, was telling Jayla that Biggie was still on timing or some shit like that. So basically, Jayla was thinking that her and Biggie had squashed the beef. And then when she was hearing that Biggie was still going around like talking about her, saying she still wants to fight Jayla, I guess. That's why she was on guard on that episode when they came to the first house. That's why she was acting like that. And she tried to talk to Biggie about it, she said. And the producers pulled her to the side because they thought that she was trying to fight Biggie. But the cameras weren't around to catch it. So they waited to do that while they were on camera, if that makes sense. So yeah. But then she also says that she loves Biggie, which is funny because... Well, I don't know if Biggie was just saying that into regards to Anna, because if y'all remember, like a couple of days ago, Anna was hanging with Jayla, and then she calling Jayla her sister and all that kind of shit, and then Biggie felt some kind of way about that. It's like, Jayla, you say you and Biggie are cool, but does Biggie know y'all cool? Crazy, So yeah, she just went into that whole thing with Biggie, but then she just basically said everyone wanted to call me a bully on that one. Again, Jayla was not a bully. Biggie just don't know how to shut the fuck up, and that's just that on that. And then we're going to move on to the last topic. And they talk about Gretchen, y'all. Okay, and so we get to the last topic, y'all. They're still on Baddies Caribbean. I'm pretty sure all of part 2 is going to be talking about Baddies Caribbean as well. So it ends off with them talking about Jayla and Gretchen's beef on the season and the N-word controversy. So they asked. So it started off with Wesley asking Jayla how come Gretchen, who's not a black woman, says the N-word, bites Jayla, bites a chunk out of her damn chest. But they don't send her home. They send home 2 black women who are Slim and Dia because they were born. Jayla says, that's production's questions, but she feels like the reason why they kept Gretchen on the show was because she's very problematic. This is controversy. I'm pretty sure in the moment in time when this is filming, they're not seeing what's going on the internet. So they're just saying, hey, if we keep her on the show and she's saying the N-word, this can, bring in some views because this can be like a big topic. I'm guessing. I'm not in the production room, so I don't know what the fuck be going on. But that's what she did for me. Basically, keep Gretchen on the show because they know that it seems like she ain't gonna stop saying the N-word. So let's just keep her around here. So if she keeps saying it, let's see if people keep beating her up for saying it. Which I don't think. She kept saying it the whole rest of the season, and it seemed like people just gave up about that point. But so that's what happened. So she gave us some tea again about some behind the scenes stuff that happened on Baddies Caribbean. But I remember Meatball, y'all know big ass Meatball, right? And Gretchen was beefing before the cameras started rolling. So those two were beefing about something. I remember hearing about this. I don't remember what exactly started the beef, but they were beefing about some shit that who the fuck cares? Because neither one of them bitches on the show. But they were beefing about something. And Gretchen was already calling her the N-word then when they were beefing. So Jayla wasn't aware of the beef between Meatball and Gretchen prior. She just knowing about what's going on now. So when Gretchen and Meatball came to the house and they started fighting, and then she hears Gretchen saying the N-word, it threw them off. And then she said the twins had told her, she said, hey, she just said the N-word. Is she black? So she asked Gretchen, she said, you guys know the story. She said, are you not black? You can't be saying it. She said, I'm Puerto Rican. Bitch, what does that got to do with anything? You're not black. My point. So when Jayla had said, when she told her, you're not black, you can't be saying it, she said, what'd she say? I'm Puerto Rican and I don't give a fuck. That's when Jayla stole off on her and they started to fight. And then that's when, they got fighting, and then Gretchen bit Jayla in her chest. And then we come to find out that Gretchen's mouth was nasty. I don't know what was in that bitch mouth, but I remember seeing that bitch teeth, and I said, I don't know what she's on, but them teeth don't look right. They don't look right at all, okay? So she said that Jayla said she had to get a tetanus shot. Then she later found out that when Gretchen bit her, whatever was in Gretchen's mouth got on her and it infected that spot. So it started like coming up and like was getting like white pus, and when she was explaining, I was really throwing up. I'm glad I wasn't eating nothing. That was so fucking nasty. Now hearing that, I gotta fight you every time I see you. And I don't understand why Jayla didn't do that. I understand that you're not liking the bitch, but at that point, I don't give a fuck if it's bullying or not. Bitch, you bit a chunk out of me and you infected this spot and I got this pus coming out of me. Bitch, I gotta slap the shit out of you every time, bitch. Every time, ho. Every time, okay? But yeah, so that's what had happened. And then they started asking, why does Gretchen think it's okay to say it? And then Jayla breaks it down so perfectly. She says, you are not black. You're raising black children. But then somebody can come to your black kids and call them an N-word, and it's gonna be like, well, because what, I forgot something she said, but it's basically to a thin line. If somebody calls your kids that, they're gonna think that's okay. And what are you gonna tell your kids that because you say it, so that you think it's okay, or something to that extent. And the bottom line is Gretchen shouldn't be saying the word. And it's her kids who are black, if they want to say it, let them do that. But just because your kids are black and you take black cock does not mean you can say it. And that's just that on that and everything like that. And anybody that keeps trying to defend that, because wherever place you grow up in, where you live around a lot of Hispanics, because I know where I grew up in Charlotte, when I was growing up, I lived near a lot of Hispanics, and they hung around a lot of black people, and their black friends let them say it. So I understand it. But it's like, you got to understand for the one time. If you're Hispanic and you say it around your black friends and they don't mind it, you have to notice that every time you get around a black person, they're not going to be okay with you saying that. So you got to respect them when they say they don't like you saying it. Plain and simple. And that's just that on that. But yeah, I've always been on Jayla's side when it comes to that Gretchen situation. I just didn't like how they was stretching it out the whole season of Baddies Caribbean, because the bitch ain't gonna stop saying it. So it's either just beat her ass every single day to make her stop saying it, or either kick her out of the house. And if the production ain't kick her out of the house, just beat the bitch ass every single fucking day. That's all you have to do. So the interview ends off with Wesley asking Jayla, if Biggie and Anna are black, because they love saying it. Now, Biggie, we can tell, but Anna is not black. And I want to hear Jayla's answer on that too. I'm very particularly, I want to hear what Jayla has to say, because Anna is not black. Even though some Dominican have people that are Dominican, because I went to Dominican Republic like 2 years ago, and it was nothing but black people that was the same skin color as me. And if I didn't know they was Hispanic, I would have thought they were black. The same thing is Anna's not black, so Anna shouldn't be saying it. So I'm kind of interested to see how Jayla feels, because your friend Anna is saying it and she's not a black woman. So Jayla, you got some explaining to do, okay? But yeah, y'all, that's all I got today. I really liked the interview. It's really good seeing Jayla in a different light outside of Zeus. This is the Jayla that I like. Jayla, get away from that demonic area and go be great, okay? That's all I got to say. But you guys, yeah, I'm going to be doing part 2. I forgot when they said part 2 is I think it's coming up this Sunday. That's going to be 5 Sundays, y'all. Like, damn, like, why can't you just do it every day of the week, Wesley? Shit, I understand you got to stretch this shit out, but damn, though. But yeah, y'all, before I get up out of here, like, comment, share, subscribe, y'all. Let's go ahead and get these watch hours up, okay? Because a bitch got bills. But yep, I'm going to see you guys next video. Bye.